Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Today we are going to talk about something really fascinating. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe and also click on the bell icon so you can get notified every time we upload a new video. Here with me is the mysterious voice. How's it going?
Okay.
Are you excited about this episode?
I am. It's kind of late though, so I'm kind of tired too, but yeah, I am excited.
Okay, well.
Pardon the yawn.
Yeah, it was a long day today, but I think I'm gonna enjoy this episode a lot.
Yeah, it will more than likely be this is probably just part one.
Part one, yeah, because
more than likely because
yeah.
this is one of the topics I can talk about forever.
Yeah. Well, would you like to tell everyone what we're gonna talk about?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about pro wrestling.
Pro wrestling?
Yeah, sports, entertainment, wrestling, whatever you want to call it.
Just that before we continue, just try to not move the cable that you have there, because sometimes we get some kind of noise. Well, okay, sorry to interrupt, and or that I interrupted. We're gonna talk about pro wrestling, and that's something that I remember enjoying, but long time ago. I enjoyed
but
to
before we get started,
watch.
Like and subscribe and blah blah blah, all that
Didn't
stuff.
I say that already?
I don't know, I don't think so.
I think I said that.
I don't know, maybe I wasn't listening.
Well,
but anyways,
yeah, so subscribe, of course, and that supports this channel. And also what was it?
I don't know.
Click on the bell icon so you can get notified every time we upload a new video. I'm pretty sure I said it already.
I don't remember.
Yeah, we're tired, but okay, let's just forget about being tired and let's do it. Okay, so I don't have that much experience with this topic, and but I know that I really enjoyed it a short period of time. And I remember about luchadores, lucha libre, which is similar, Yeah. And but
that's
other than that,
like Latin America's pro wrestling.
Mexican, yeah, that's Mexican for sure. But do you want to talk about the American one?
Well, it doesn't matter.
Or in general, just wrestling.
General,
yeah. You have more experience, right?
Yes. I don't watch wrestling anymore. I think I said that in a previous video. I used to watch it when I was really, really little, back in the 80s. In the old country, we used to occasionally, I don't remember the TV channels or anything, but there used to be a channel that would occasionally play like WWF.
Okay.
And I remember watching Macho Man versus Hulk Hogan, Hogan and Ultimate Warrior, and like Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior instantly became my favorites.
Wow. Why?
I liked the costumes were awesome. They stood out from everybody else, and I liked the energy. Because like Ultimate Warrior, especially was Macho Man. I liked his attitude. Like growing up, I wanted to be like that. That was, I think, one of the first people I've ever looked up to, and that I saw, and I was like, man, I wish I could be like that guy. It was really? Macho Man, just because he was so confident and just his attitude.
Yeah,
he did whatever he wanted.
Yeah, I just remember that old clip about the creamer. Cream of the top?
Cream of the crop.
Cream of the crop. What does that even mean?
So cream of the crop means like you're the best of the best.
Oh, it's like creme de la creme?
Yeah.
Kinda.
Oh. And so there's like the saying, the cream always rises to the top.
Oh, I see. I see.
You
Sorry,
know.
I don't know that much about dairy.
Yeah. But yeah, so like Macho Man was like my all-time favorite and still is. I mean, he died and all that, but he's
When did
always
he die?
I want to say 2008 or something like that.
Wow,
It was
okay.
a while ago. Yeah, he had a heart attack while driving.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what killed him?
I believe they said the heart attack.
Wow. That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah. But yeah, him and then yeah, Ultimate Warrior, same thing. I just loved the energy, you know, cuz he was just wired, constantly running around, just, you know, as an animal. Same thing also, I believe he had a heart attack as well and died.
Oh
That was
my
in
God.
2014, I want to say. I could be wrong. I don't remember dates very well. But I know
Right.
he died a few years ago.
So do you think that was because of wrestling?
More than likely, the wrestlers tend to have like a lot shorter lifespans compared to other athletes because, well, especially from guys back in those days, because back then, I don't want to say in the WWF because fuck Vince McMahon, the steroids were mandatory, but they were strongly encouraged.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't
So-
help.
No, of course not. That didn't help.
Wow,
And-
that's terrible.
Yeah, so those guys, and also like watching some wrestling documentaries and stuff, a lot of these guys have like problems with whether it's they're alcoholics or they're
Oh,
addicted to
boy.
painkillers or, you know, all kinds of stuff. Like you look at
Wow.
like Jake the Snake Roberts. You know, he's doing a lot better now, but up until like a couple of years ago, he was dying. Like he was just that bad with drugs and alcohol. You know, like
Wow.
he was dying. Thank God
So
that
they're
Diamond
like-
Dallas Page came around and took him in, you know?
So they have like a rock star kind of life,
I don't think it's because
or
of
is
that. I
it
think
because
it's
of the
stress.
injuries and
The stress
injuries
and the
and all of
injuries.
that?
Because they work like 200 days a year, you know, and I mean, whatever, people can call it fake, but they're jumping and falling and, you know,
So, yeah.
you can't
They
fake,
always
you
feel
can't fake
pain.
gravity,
Yeah, exactly.
you know.
Yeah. Even though they're not
And
fighting,
and
or-
accidents
yeah,
happen.
or wrestling.
Yeah, and accidents happen, you know, like
Oh yeah, for sure.
I remember watching a match. This is way back this is mid 90s. It was Bret Hart against Bill Goldberg. And there's one part of the match where Goldberg throws him off the ropes and then he kicks him in the head. You
Wow.
know, but when you watch it, like that kick looked real as shit.
Wow.
And then like after that, for the rest of the match, Brett just like he's so out of it. Well, turns out Goldberg accidentally stepped too far and actually
Oh
kicked him
my
and gave him a
God.
concussion. Like
That's terrible.
that pretty much ended Bret Hart's career. You know.
Wow.
So yeah,
That-
like
that looks
like,
painful.
So accidents happen. You know, Owen Hart died.
Honestly, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of accidents, and I just can't believe that the way they do it, it seems very real to me. For example, when they throw people out of the ring and then they just fall onto the concrete.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well, that's the
"Whoa."
thing. You can't
Like,
fake
how
gravity.
can you fake that? Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't do it in a nice way, you know.
Yeah, or
In a not painful way.
to call upon Reddit legend Shitty Morph, like in 1998 when The Undertaker threw Mankind off of a Hell in a Cell and it plummeted 16 feet through an announcer's table.
Wow.
You know, like, yeah, like I said, yeah, you can't fake gravity. You know, yeah, they can sell the punches and the kicks and,
Yeah.
you know, and that stuff, but like I said, accidents happen.
Yeah.
And then just, like I said, Owen Hart, Bret Hart's brother, he died, and I saw it happen.
Wow.
He was dropping from like the ceiling of the arena on like a cable,
Uh-huh.
and he was supposed to just like drop into the ring and like land on his feet in the ring. but something happened and the cable was too loose or something, and he fell and he hit his head off of the corner of the where the ropes are, the turnbuckle, and broke his neck.
Oh my god.
And I remember watching it. I was a kid. I remember watching it.
How old were you?
Oh man, I don't
12?
It was in the 90s.
Oh,
It was in like 90s was my wrestling time. So like it was in the 90s. And I remember watching it, and he, like, his character at the time was like a luchador, but he was like a goofy screw up, you know. So when that happened, everybody was like, haha, you know, it's part of the show, until like a second later, when like ambulance rushed out, and you know, all these people, and like,
wow,
like it was crazy. Yeah, it just like it set in, like, holy shit, like this dude's really hurt. Wow. You know, and then like you found out, I believe, I don't know if it was during the same day, but like a day or two later, like he died.
Wow, that's crazy.
You know, so
it's dangerous. Yeah, for
so
sure.
they have these injuries, and because they're expected to perform, they're contractually obligated, blah blah blah, or you know, whatever reason they want their money. You know, they end up turning to, whether it's, you know, just painkillers or who knows what, and usually a lot of them commit suicide. You know, like they have a really, really rough life. A lot of them.
Very dark, very soon.
Oh yeah, like just if you want really dark, I'm not gonna talk about it, but anybody who doesn't know about it, Google Chris Benoit if you want really dark.
Okay.
You know, like.
Well,
let's
talk about the good things.
Yeah.
Just the good things.
Okay.
You know, like, why do you like wrestling? Or used to like
I loved, like I said, the characters. When I got into wrestling, back in the old country, I occasionally caught glimpses of it, and I was like, oh, this is pretty fun. I like these guys. And then when I came here, I came across WCW. So this is like in 1996, so when we first came to this country, and I never heard of it before, and I remember tuning in, and I was like, oh, there's, you know, the guys that I used to like. There's Hulk Hogan, there's Macho Man, you know.
So you like the old school ones?
Yes,
because I remember when I first watched the American wrestling. I'm not even sure about if it was W blah blah blah, I don't know, but I remember Batista.
That's WWE.
Okay, now. But Batista, the Undertaker.
Yeah, the Undertaker.
Yeah. The Undertaker. Sorry, yeah. I'm very bad at remembering names. The Undertaker, and what was this guy? He has long hair, blonde.
That's a lot of them.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
But I remember Batista because I was like, oh my god, he looked like too strong to me. Like he's like, oh my god, and he looks tall. I don't know how tall he is. Do you know if he's tall?
Yeah, he's pretty tall. I don't know how tall, but he's pretty tall from what I remember.
Yeah, but yeah, I never watched Macho Man. Just you know, short clips on YouTube. Yeah. But never watch him, wrestling.
I wish I had I was able to see him in person. I wish that was one of the people that I really wish I could have met, or just like watched him in person.
My question is, Macho Man, his voice, was it like that all the time?
I think so. I honestly,
was he more like a character that will be like,
I don't know. Every time I heard him talk, whether it was like an interview during a show or like a TV interview, or somebody, you know, like stopped him on the street, he always sounds like that. So I don't know if that was just his normal voice. I'm sure he probably has exaggerated it a bit.
Sounds like very, I don't know,
but
raspy.
Then again, like,
is that the word?
Look at Lemmy. You know, but that's his normal voice.
I remember, he used to sing very like as well.
So it's I don't know if that was Macho Man's normal voice. That's the only voice I knew that
Well,
he had.
My initial question, if I remember correctly, was, why do you like wrestling? Why did you? Because you can't give me a concrete answer.
I can. I was getting to it.
Okay.
I was getting to it.
Because you were telling me like, yeah, I remember when I used to watch these guys.
I was getting to the answer. I have to
Okay.
give backstory before I can get to it.
Okay.
So I saw these guys and I was like, oh, I remember these characters. I'll let's see what this is.
Mm-hmm.
And it was when the NWO first started, so 1996, I believe that was.
Mm.
And it was like a cool show. I think that's what I liked about it, because the NWO were just like these bad guys, you know? They were bad. They knew they were bad. They interrupted like every match, regardless of whether whether it was involving one of them or not. They just like caused havoc, and they were like such a good bad guys. They were really entertaining to watch. And then that created a lot of interesting good guys. Like that's where, like Diamond Dallas Page came from.
Evil versus
good
it was
versus
like good
evil. Versus evil in a way. But then you had the one thing I liked about Macho Man is that he was always kind of gray, because even when he was in the NWO and NWO was super evil. It was more
more like a real person.
Yeah, because even though he was a part of the NWO, there was still like a match, for an example, Hulk Hogan versus I think it might have been Sting, and Macho Man jumped into the middle of the match and everybody thought he was going to attack Sting, and he attacks Hogan, even though they were on the same team. So it was like this drama happening.
So essentially you like the drama.
I like the drama. I like the storyline that they had, because, and like I said, it created a lot of interesting characters that I really liked.
You know that you can watch soap operas and it's pretty much
it's not the same. It's not, because this is more fun.
Because there's punches.
Yeah, there's a lot more, and there's cooler characters. Like, for an example, Sting, when they used to be just like a surfer dude. He had blonde hair, face paint, bright colors, and then when the NWO started, he became, you remember the movie The Crow?
Mm-hmm.
He became that, essentially. He became the Crow, because he dressed in black, his hair was long and black, he had the white face paint with the black, and he would just like randomly appear and just like kick the shit out of everybody in the NWO. And it was just this feud, and it was just so entertaining to watch.
Was that the same thing that you liked about Power Rangers? Because Power Rangers to me is like a wrestling show for kids.
I think so, because both had a really good message, for at least that I took away as a kid. It's just like with the Power Rangers.
I just want to clarify that I used to hate Power Rangers.
That's fine. I mean,
but it's weird because I was interested in wrestling, you know. Maybe, as I told you before, the one thing that I found frustrating when watching Power Rangers is all this excessive yelling and they talk like they're overacting, you know. Everything is over the top, even the way they move. And I found that irritating, and it was so funny because I was just a kid or a teenager. Yeah,
I think younger,
like
before
teenager kid. Well, who knows?
I don't know. Yeah.
But yeah, and wrestling is more like, I like the a little bit of the violence of it, because sometimes you're frustrated in life. And just seeing that kind of, here's a punch, and you're kind of punching your problems away.
I just liked it because you could, back then, like the WCW especially, I didn't like the WWF at the time in the 90s, because with WCW, the stories, you were more able to like suspend disbelief and just go with it and just kind of get lost in the excitement of it, like our when Goldberg first started, His big thing was he was just super strong, super fast, and he was like undefeated. You know, so every match he had, it was like, oh, it wasn't like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? It was like, oh, how is he gonna beat this guy? Because he was just like that good. They you know, build him as that good. And it was just, he was basically like the Mike Tyson of wrestling. You know, because he would just come out just pure brute force and just destroy whoever he was against.
Wow.
You know, and it was so cool to watch because like you get into the excitement of it, and like the fans are going crazy, and it was just like, I'll show you some matches just so you kind of get the feeling for it. You know, it was so cool.
So out of all the wrestlers, tell me your top 3.
Top 3. Oh man, that's a tough one. Number 1, definitely Macho Man Randy Savage.
Is he like the third, second?
No, he
first?
is my all-time favorite. Number 1 without a doubt. You know, the cream of the crop. Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah, he always has been my favorite. Second, oh man, I'm gonna say it's a toss-up. No, actually, because I have to make a decision. I'm gonna say number 2 is Sting.
Oh, okay.
And number 3, I'm gonna go with.
Is he from WWE?
No, Sting,
from
WCW. He was briefly in the WWE, but for some reason they didn't do much with him, which was a real shame. They just had him lose to Triple H in a really shitty match.
Is he the one that has long hair, blonde?
No, Sting has black hair,
white face paint,
like
confused.
The Crow.
Okay, yeah, I just want to remember that blonde guy with.
Okay, I'm gonna start listing them, and what else
like
did he have?
Long blonde hair.
What else did he have? Like, what else did he look like? Clothing.
The thing with WWE, if he's from there, is that they all have kind of the same outfit. That is just like this, almost like it's not a short, but it's like a really
like tights, like
Speedo. Or they have the. I don't know, black shirts. I don't even remember. It was a long time ago.
When he comes to the ring, what was he wearing, if you remember?
Was the guy who was it? Oh, was it Triple X?
Triple H?
Yeah, Triple X. That's
a Vin Diesel movie.
You see, I think it was Triple H.
Okay.
Because he is blonde and he has long hair, right?
Well, yeah.
That wrestler with blonde long hair.
Yeah, I was gonna start listing them. There's a lot, but Macho Man, Sting,
The Rock.
Number 3.
How about The Rock?
I like The Rock, but he wasn't never my favorite. Number 3. Oh fuck. I don't know for number 3.
What was the second one? Sorry.
Sting.
Okay.
Sting, definitely number 2.
Okay.
Number 3, I want to say. I'm gonna go with Ultimate Warrior. I think he was my number 3 because I remember in 1998 or 9, I can't remember the year, but when he came to WCW to feud with Hogan, because Warrior was the only one to ever beat Hogan in the past.
Who?
Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, okay.
And when he came to feud with Hogan, I remember just like being so excited when I saw the lights go down and like the music started. I was like, holy shit, I'm like, I know who this is, you know. And I remember my brother and when one of our friends were there, and they're like, no, it's not him. I'm like, no, it's the Ultimate Warrior, man, you just watch. And then he came out, I was like, holy shit, I remember being so excited.
Wow, crazy.
Yeah,
that's one thing I love about wrestlers, the way they get into the place, you know, like what is the introduction?
Yeah, the entrance.
The entrance, yes. I love that. Yeah. Every single one of them has a different one, right?
Yeah.
And which one is... Because they usually have some rock music.
It depends on which one. Everybody's got their own.
Yeah. What was Macho
Man, he had couple of different ones.
Macho Man.
His most famous one from like when he was in a WWE was Pomp and Circumstance, which is like a classical song, like classical music.
Can you sing it for us?
No.
Come on, sing it
I don't
for
remember
us.
it, but I just want to name
Here's
it.
the thing: you let us down twice so
Well,
far.
I can't sing something
because
that I don't remember.
you didn't sing Vanilla Ice
Yeah.
Ice Baby, the Ice Baby
Mhm.
song. Like, and you know it, and I hopefully someday you can sing that
maybe
for us.
someday. Maybe
Because
someday, but not
that would
today.
be great. I'm still thinking about it. I'm not gonna
Okay,
forget.
That's fine. But yeah, so he had classical music.
Okay,
for his
classical
original-
music.
Yeah, yeah.
That's interesting.
And then there was the NWO theme song when he was in the NWO, and then the Wolfpack when he was in the Wolfpack. Like he had his, Then I think there's a wrestler, Rob Van Dam. His entrance was Walk. Rob Van Dam. RVD. His entrance was Pantera. It's a Pantera song.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so like they all had all kinds.
So Hogan, what was, because I remember him just destroying his shirt, but I don't remember what else he did.
Before he became Hollywood Hogan, and then when he became Hulk Hogan again, it was A Real American was the song. It was like a super like
American song,
80s rock kind of song,
Wow, that's funny.
Because he was
very popular, right?
He was huge. Hogan was. It still is. Like he was huge.
Wow. Yeah.
There was, and it's funny.
Why didn't you like Hogan as much as the other?
I don't know. I liked Hogan, but he was never my favorite. He was too. I think he was too one-dimensional.
Oh, okay.
He was very one-dimensional, and his matches weren't that exciting to watch. He wasn't like, and even I remember reading books by some of the other wrestlers, and a lot of them said the same thing. Like Hogan isn't very good at it. He wasn't a very good wrestler. Like his moves were really sloppy and just they weren't.
So why do you think he was so famous?
He, right place at the right time. He sold this character, of this
He's
like
very
ultimate good
yeah.
guy. Yeah, he was the ultimate good guy. He ended every interview with like "say your prayers, eat your vitamins," like that kind of stuff, right? So,
like Mr. T. Do you remember his song?
Yeah.
Treat your
mother right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
such a good song.
Yeah. So I think that's what made Hogan famous, is that he became like the ultimate good guy.
Do you know the history about wrestling? Like, which one was the one who started everything?
I don't know.
Do you know, in America at least?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I remember briefly watching something a while ago about it, and there was a couple of smaller places, and then Vince McMahon Sr., who started the WWF, just, I don't know if because he had more money than the rest of them, was able to book bigger venues and hire, better wrestlers or something.
I just wonder who came up with the concept of, let's have people have like really muscly guys dressing in like really colorful outfits or costumes, and let's just have some sort of fight. But everything is
the really muscly,
not real.
Yeah, the really muscly didn't start until like the 80s though.
The what?
Like them being like super muscular, because like the original guys,
they looked more normal.
They were like, bigger
average
than your average person, but they weren't like Ultimate Warrior. They didn't look like bodybuilders.
Right.
I think that started with the popularity of like the 1980s like action movies, because like Stallone, Schwarzenegger, like these guys were huge and popular, right?
Yeah, that would be great to know.
Yeah, but like I said,
we should talk about Lucha Libre too,
Yeah.
because that's another whole world.
Oh yeah, and that's the one thing about the.
This is like the
American one.
introduction to.
Yeah, and that's the
to
cool
that,
thing with the
yeah.
American ones. They had like luchadors in the American one as well, because like
Really?
Rey Mysterio when he first started.
Scorpion, wasn't he one?
Yeah, there
Was
was.
it because
The name sounds familiar, but there was like Rey
Scorpion.
Mysterio was luchador, Eddie Guerrero, Juventud Guerrera, Chavo Guerrero Jr.
Also, maybe everything started with lucha libre in Mexico,
Maybe.
and then someone saw that,
It's
and
possible.
they created their own concept, but based
Yeah,
off of
it's
the,
possible.
you know,
Again, like we
lucha libre.
can look into that and talk about it. But yeah, it was and like the storylines were fun.
Right.
And like I said, WCW had a great storylines. You know, like the feud between Diamond Dallas Page and Raven and and the Flock was super cool. You know,
Yeah.
his feud with Macho Man was amazing as well. DDP.
I think that was like the best of wrestling,
I think so because
nowadays they're not the same. I haven't seen
watched it. Like,
yeah.
I haven't watched it since like the early
But
2000s.
the costumes, the character, everything was very unique back then.
I think it's too overproduced and too clean now.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Mhm.
You know, because like back then, and also I think back then you had a lot of these still like huge names. Imagine like if The Rock was a regular still. You know,
The Rock, yeah.
like there's a lot of big names, and back then there was competition. Now it's the WWE is pretty much all that's left. There's actually AEW is a new one that's around, and Chris Jericho's there, and a couple other guys I remember watching. I might see if I can stream it online or something, because I want to give them a shot, because I like Jericho. You know, but like back then, WCW and the WWF were competing for ratings. They were both on the same days, like one right before the other. You know, they were competing for ratings, so they took a lot more chances and tried a lot more stuff.
Right.
And I think that's, to me, that was like the golden age of wrestling, was in the WCW and that era, because the Attitude Era for WWF, for an example, Stone Cold Steve Austin, there was one show where he literally just brought a chair to the middle of the ring. He put the chair in the middle of the ring, and every time wrestlers would come out to have a match, he would fight both of them and just like beat everybody up, you know, because he was mad about something. I can't remember. Or there was a where he held Vince McMahon hostage with a gun, you know, and then like, and it was huge. Like there was cops, there was like all this drama, and then at the end there's like a gun when you pull the trigger, like the flag comes out, it says bang, you know. So it was like this crazy stuff, right?
Yeah. Do you think that you would have enjoyed going to see one?
I did go. I did go to see. I saw
didn't know
two.
that.
I saw.
Where?
Like I said, unfortunately, I never saw WCW show, which I'm really sad about. I went. The first one I went to, my parents took me and a friend of mine to Detroit, and we watched SmackDown. And actually, it was a funny thing, because if you watch that episode, there's
We Can See You?
No, but there's a wrestler called Kurt Angle, and he was like this all-American Olympic champion, blah blah blah, you know, and nobody liked him because he was a bad guy. Nobody liked him. And during his match, there was one part, it was like dead silence, dead silence,
something.
and I yelled I was as loud. We were pretty close. We're like, I think 15
Do you think
rows.
we can find it on YouTube?
Probably.
We should have
I'll try and find it. And there was, we were like maybe 15, 16
Okay,
rows.
what did you say? What did you yell?
I yelled as loud as I could. I was like, "Kurt's my hero!" and he stopped and looked in the direction where I yelled from. so
did
like,
he say something?
No, because he was in the middle of a match. But like, he heard it. Like, it interrupted him.
Oh, cool. That's funny.
Yeah, and the second one I saw,
Uh-huh.
WrestleMania in Toronto.
Really?
We went to WrestleMania. The same friend that I went. His mom took us that time, and I watched. I think the main event was Hulk Hogan versus The Rock.
Really?
Ho-
So
Holly-
you saw
Hollywood
them?
Hogan versus The Rock was the main
Look
event.
at you! And why didn't you tell me
I
about
told
this?
you about it. I'm
Did
pretty
you?
sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. We had really bad seats because it was super expensive, so we were like way up high. But yeah, it was a cool.
Did
It was
you
a
yell
really
something
cool event. No, nobody would have heard me from that far.
You yelled pretty
yeah, I know,
loud.
but so did the other
You
like
talk really
so
loud,
did,
like right now. Yeah.
yeah, but like so did the other like 40,000
You don't
people
talk,
that
you
were
yell.
there. But yeah, so I went to those two. That was the only two I ever
That's
went
fun.
to.
That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I never went to any of those events. I just watched a few matches on TV,
Mhm.
and other than that, like I just didn't do much. I didn't have the experience. I would have
It was-
loved to have the
Yeah.
experience, but
It was really cool. Like it's entertaining, you know. And it's funny. I remember my dad told me because when they took us to SmackDown, because they didn't get tickets for themselves, they were just like waiting at Joe Louis Arena. My parents were just like hanging out in the lobby, and my dad went for a walk, and he was just walking around, and he ran into The Rock having an interview,
no way.
and the Rock stopped my dad, I believe,
What?
and he asked him if he wanted like an autograph or something, and my dad was like, "No, thanks." And he just like and just kept walking.
My God.
Yeah, it was something like that.
What?
It was something like that. He said he ran into The Rock, and he just like
No, thank you.
didn't recognize him or
No,
something,
thank
didn't know
you.
who it was.
Oh my God, he could have had a picture with
Yeah.
him.
Yeah,
Oh my God, no. That's too bad. That was like
yeah. Once
maybe he was nervous. Maybe he knew.
I don't know.
and
He
then
just
was
said like he didn't know who it was,
No.
and he just didn't
No,
realize he didn't know
I'm
who it
just
was. And it
scared.
was like he was just tired from driving.
I mean,
and-
here's the thing. If your dad thought that The Rock was nobody, like
this
come
is-
on, like
this
The
is
Rock.
before The Rock was this famous. He
No,
was,
but I mean, he's tall.
yeah,
He was muscly.
yeah, but
Right?
but I just don't think my dad knew it was The Rock. He just like,
But
just some wrestler.
still,
I'm tired. I'm
still.
cranky. I don't want to, you
Oh.
know.
Well, too bad.
Yeah.
Too bad. Well, that was very interesting. If you want, we can have a part 2 video.
Yeah, definitely. 'Cause,
And
yeah, there's a lot to talk about still.
Yeah, but right now I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else
No, not
Just
really. I mean,
to say?
no, not
No?
really. Like I said, I don't know much about it anymore because it's been
Yeah.
a long time since I watched it. I stopped watching it when they sold WCW, so 2001, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it maybe a little bit into 2002 or 3.
Yeah.
So I don't really have much.
We should watch something
Oh, we
like
need to,
during this week or something
Yeah.
like that.
yeah, we can watch
And then we can
old
talk
matches
about
and
that.
stuff. Yeah.
More like modern wrestling kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for watching, and please remember to subscribe and click on the bell icon so you can get notified every time we upload a new video. And yeah, that's it. You can leave a comment down below if you have any experience with wrestling, if you're a wrestler or if you like wrestling. I don't know. just let us know. We're too tired, but yeah, thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, say your
And,
prayers, eat your vitamins.
Exactly.
All that
And cream of the crop.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much, and I'll see you, or we'll see you next time. Bye.